Good morning, mathematicians. Ready for your test? Awesome. So, what I need you to do is I need you to go ahead and take out your formula sheet, a pencil, and some scratch paper. And make sure you're ready. If you do not have your formula sheet or cannot find it, please raise your hand and ask Miss Hughes right now, so that way you make sure you have one for the test. Alright, as we are looking at this information, we've worked this unit on perimeter, area, circumference, and we talked about the different shapes and how they apply. So let's quickly review some of those.
Sorry, I had to use my favorite filter. Alright, so let's take a look at this information we're going to be on our test. So through this unit, we talked about area, perimeter, and circumference and how they apply to different shapes. Alright, so we talked about rectangles, squares, triangles, parallelograms, and circles. Now looking at the ones that we started with, all the way back. So we have perimeter. We know that we add up all of the sides around because perimeter is always around, area is inside, okay? Now, if we look at this, we have 5 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2. Okay, so we know that's 5 plus 5, which is 10, and 2 plus 2, which is 4. So our answer is perimeter equals 14. All right, now looking at this right here, we have area. Area is the space inside. For rectangles, we do it by length times width. Okay, so looking at this, we say 5 length times 2 width is going to be 10. Now, the important thing to remember is, since we're doing area, our unit of measurement gets squared. So we call them square inches here, or inches squared, right? We talked about how we have our squares, which all have the same side, so they don't actually differentiate between length and width. So it's going to be S squared for our area, or S times S. Follow the same thing for perimeter. Now with triangles, we talked about how we have to use this middle line as our height because diagonal lines have to travel a further distance to meet the same point. So our formula, if you're looking at your formula sheet, says 1/2 base times height. So we say half of 12, or 1/2 times 12, which is 6, times 5 equals 30. So the area would equal 30 inches squared. We talked about our parts of a circle. We talked about how line AB right here, AB is a chord. Line DC that goes across the circle through the middle is a diameter. And line EF is going to be it's going to be a radius. All right, so looking at this right here, we have line DE, okay? Don't be confused because this is also a radius between D and E. Even though it's on this diameter, it's only half the length of the diameter, okay? We talked about, now, when we have our circle, okay, we call the distance around a circle like perimeter, but since it doesn't have actual multiple sides to do our adding up, we call it our circumference. All right, so looking at our circumference, we have two formulas, okay? We have C equals pi times D, and C equals 2 pi r. Now, looking at this right here, this is our diameter. So in this case, since it gives us the diameter of 12, okay, let's say 12 inches, all right, then the circumference is pi times our diameter, 12, okay? Now, we talk about here, we have our circumference. We're looking for with the radius given. So we say 2 times pi times r. All right, so circumference equals 2 times 3.14 times 5. All right, and then the last thing, making sure we know. This pen is struggling, hopefully less than you guys on this test today. Boom with the roast. All right, so we have our area of a circle. Our area, again, is the space inside the figure. All right, you guys have 5 as your radius or diameter. Radius. All right, now we have our formula. It's on your sheet. Pi r squared. So we'd follow this process and say that our area for the circle is equal to 3.14 times 5 squared. Or in this case, after you combine and take care of that squared part, 3.14 times 25. Okay? Now, you should be ready for today. You're going to do great. Just make sure that you are taking your time. You have the entire math block to do this. At this time, I want to make sure that you grab a pencil, a sheet of scratch paper, and I'll make sure you pull out your formula sheet. Now go do good, make it proud.